Shalom, little Yisrael. You ready for another story? I know I am. Saved by a Donkey. The Adventures of Balaam. Do you guys already know the story? Look at this poor little donkey. It looks so sad. Aww. And we're gonna find out why. Unless you guys already know. I have a sneaking suspicion you already know. But we're going to read it anyways because it's a good story. And of course, we always start off with the scripture. God answered Balaam, "You are not to go with them. You are not to curse the people of Israel because they are blessed." And you can find that in the book of Numbers, chapter 22. King of Balak of Moab gazed out on the Israelites camped near his land and trembled with fear. He had heard all about the children of Israel, called Hebrews, and their long journey through the wilderness. They had won many battles and defeated many enemies. Now, the 12 tribes of Israel and their leader, Moshe, were here. Dun, dun, dun. The king pointed at the Israelites' camp on the great plains of Moab. "Look," he said to the elders of the Midian who were standing beside him. "There are millions of them. No wonder they defeated Og, the king of Bashan. If they can slay those fearsome giants, then they can easily steal our land." The elders of Midian agreed. They were afraid the Israelites might steal their land too. "We know their God is wise and powerful, and our army is small," they said. "We must find a way to get rid of them before they attack us." They had no idea that Yah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, had told Moshe to leave the Moabites and the Midianites alone. Yes. Together, the two... Oh, I missed the picture. There they are. And do you know what those are? Those are the tents for the 12 tribes of Israel. And look at that. Can you tell me what that is? I bet you know. The tabernacle. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Together, the two nations came up with a silly plan to get rid of the Israelites. "There is a famous prophet named Balaam who lives in the land of Mesopotamia," said the king. "If we pay him lots of money, he will curse whomever we want." The elders of Midian smiled at the king. "Yes, let's pay him to curse the Israelites so that they run away." King Balak liked that idea. He summoned his messengers. "Go fetch Balaam," he said. "I will pay him lots of money to come and curse the Israelites. We must get rid of these Hebrews as soon as possible." With a bag full of money, the messengers jumped on their camels and set off for the land of Mesopotamia. After a long journey through the desert, they reached the village of Pethor near the Euphrates River where Balaam lived. A large ziggurat loomed high above the houses. Towering palm trees and swayed in the breeze. Everyone peered out of their homes at the strangers on camels who were these messengers from Moab. Did you know? Another did you know fact. Og, the king of Bashan, was a giant. The Bible uses the Hebrew words Nephilim or Rephaim to describe giants. And you can find that in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 3. And that is the picture. The messengers found Balaam's house and hurried inside. "We have an important message from the king of Moab," they said. "We know whomever you bless is blessed, and whoever you curse is cursed. The mighty Israelites are camped near our land. Come and curse them, and so they leave us alone." A messenger waved the bag of money in front of Balaam. "The king will pay you lots of money to do this," he said. Balaam stared greedily at the money. He liked the idea of being given riches and power. Rubbing his hands together, he said to the men, "Stay here overnight. I will talk to God and let you know in the morning what I will do." Balaam knew he could only curse the people of Israel if God allowed it. That night, while Balaam was sleeping in his bed, God spoke to him, saying, "Do not go with these men and curse the people of Israel. They are a blessed people." That is Balaam, and he's looking at that money with a greedy intent in his eyes, isn't he? And the donkey's like, "Oh no!" The next morning, Balaam spoke to the messengers. "Go back home," he said. "God would not allow me to curse the Israelites." The messengers were shocked. "The king will pay you lots of money. You will become very rich." But Balaam shook his head and hurried and said, "No," he said, "I can go only if God allows it." Try as they might, there was nothing the messengers could say to make Balaam change his mind. One by one, they climbed on their camels and hurried back to the land of Moab without him. King Balak was surprised that Balaam had not returned with the messengers. He had imagined the prophet would like to earn great riches and honor. His God would not allow him to curse the Israelites. Said the messengers, "Nothing we promised Balaam could change his mind." The king paced to and fro. He needed Balaam's help fast. "Listen," he said, "I have another idea. Let's offer Balaam even more money to curse the Israelites." This time he sent different messengers who were more important than the first. And that's them giving him a report. He doesn't look very happy, does he? I have to stay tuned to find out. "Come and curse the Israelites," the messengers told Balaam when they met him at Pethor. "The king of Moab will reward you more richly than before, and will do anything you say." Balaam smiled and puffed up his chest. He liked how the king of Moab made him feel more important. "Even if the king gives me an enormous palace filled with silver and gold, I cannot disobey my God and go with you. But stay here overnight, as the others did, and I will find out what he will say." God knew what was in Balaam's heart. He knew that the prophet loved money more than obeying him. That night, while everyone was sleeping, God spoke to him, saying, "If these men ask you to go with them, get ready and go. When you reach the land of Moab, be careful to only say what I tell you to say." However, Balaam secretly had another plan in mind. This is Mr. Balaam scheming, and his donkey's like, "Oh no, what's he up to now?" That's what it looks like to me anyways. Let's see here. Did you know? We got another did you know. Many people have believed that there are different ways to pronounce God's name. These include Yah, Yahweh, Yahweh, and many others. Early the next morning, Balaam jumped out of bed. He loaded his donkey and set out for the land of Moab. While he rode his donkey along the dusty dirt path, he thought more about his secret plan to please both God and the king. "Perhaps I can say what God wants me to say and make the king happy too," he whispered. As the greedy prophet headed towards the land of Moab, God decided to stop him from carrying out his cunning plan. Suddenly, a magnificent angel appeared in front of Balaam and his donkey, blocking their path. Hee-haw! Hee-haw! The donkey was so afraid that her legs began to tremble. She ran off the path into a field, her floppy long ears flapping in the wind, flapping like wings. "Stop!" cried Balaam. "What are you doing?" He could not see the angel like his donkey. He beat her with his staff until she ran back onto the pathway. Poor little donkey. That's not very nice. Balaam and his donkey continued along the pathway towards the land of Moab. Soon they passed between two vineyards with high walls. Again, the heavenly angel appeared in front of them, blocking their path. The donkey's eyes nearly popped out of its head. Lunging to one side, she crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. "Ouch! Why are you doing this?" shouted Balaam. "My foot hurts." Waving his staff above his head, he beat his donkey even harder than before. Further down the road, the angel stood in a narrow place, blocking their path. When the donkey saw the angel for the third time, she was terrified. She lay down in the middle of the path and refused to move at all. Balaam flew into a terrible rage. "What is wrong with you?" he shouted. He was tired of his donkey's strange behavior. He had never seen his donkey behave so badly before. That poor little donkey. Okay. Even though animals cannot talk like you or me, God miraculously gave Balaam's donkey the power to speak. She opened her toothy mouth as wide as possible and said, "Hee-haw, master, why are you treating me like this?" Balaam was furious. He shook his fists at the donkey. "You are making a fool out of me," he roared. If you had a sword, I would kill you." The donkey stared straight at Balaam. "You have ridden me all your life. Have I ever treated you badly?" At that very moment, the power of God opened Balaam's eyes. He looked up and gasped. Standing on the pathway was a magnificent angel. But he was no ordinary angel. This magnificent angel was Yeshua, the Son of God. Balaam looked around anxiously. There was no way to escape. With his heart pounding in fear, he fell to the ground in front of Yeshua. He was too afraid to even speak one word. Did you know Jesus' Hebrew name is Yeshua? His full name is Yehoshua, which means God is my salvation. Here they are on the ground, bowing to Yeshua, our Messiah. "Why did you beat your donkey 3 times?" Yeshua asked Balaam. "I came to stop you because your ways are wrong before me. Your donkey saw me and turned aside 3 times. If she hadn't turned away, I wouldn't have taken your life and saved hers." Balaam laid on the ground in front of Yeshua, begging for mercy. "I have sinned. I did not know it was you standing on the pathway. If you do not want me to go to the land of Moab, I will go home." "Go to the land of Moab," said Yeshua. but say only what I tell you to say." Balaam scrambled to his feet. He leapt on his donkey and raced to the land of Moab as fast as his donkey could carry him. When the king of Moab saw Balaam in the distance, he rushed out to meet him. "Why didn't you come when I asked you the first time?" he cried. "Did I not send enough money?" "I am here now," said Balaam, "but I can only say what God tells me to say." The king wrung his hands. "Come quickly and curse the Israelites for me," he said. But God had another plan in mind. Running really fast. Why do you suppose he was running so fast? The next morning, King Balak led Balaam to a high place where the people of Moab worshipped false gods. The high places were platforms built on the top of a hill or mountain. This is where the people sacrificed animals to their false gods like Baal. From the top of the hill, Balaam could see the 12 tribes of Israel camped below. He said to the king, "Build me 7 altars, then burn 7 bulls and 7 rams." The king did as Balaam asked. He built 7 stones and burnt 7 bulls and rams as a sacrifice to God. When the sacrifice was over, Balaam said to the king, "Stand by your burnt offering while I see if my God will show me what to do." The king clapped his hands together. "Soon the Israelites will be gone," he said gleefully. Not far away, Balaam knelt down and spoke to God. "I have built 7 altars and burned a bull and ram on each. Do you have a message for the king?" God answered, saying, "Yes, go and speak the words that I tell you to say." And we are going to put this end this section here, and I will see you in part 2. Stay tuned.